Well then, so I told you before about this little Fiat X19. So it's just come in. I can't be able to go get the plate, so I'll dump it up. And it's being bought from an auction. Being bought from an auction. It's a non-runner. It won't run. Don't know why. But apparently it did run, but it wouldn't run this morning when it was picked up. And we don't know why. But these things, yeah. I have noticed when I tried to crank it, the fuel gauge wasn't working. So that's going to be the first port of call, making sure there's actually fuel there. I've got the bonnet open here. Open the bonnet up. And there's a little engine in the X19. I need to make sure firstly it's obviously getting fuel, make sure that's working. And I need to give it a good service and overhaul, make sure she's going to be running lovely and sweet. He also wants me to have a look at the brakes on it. Well, as you can see, there's me fuel in that filter there. There's a little bit of fuel in that filter. Again, hopefully there'll be a few videos on this one. Or I might just make it one long video again. I haven't decided yet. But this is filming on the phone, and hopefully tomorrow I will remember to bring down the GoPro. Yeah, I'm looking forward to these jobs. I really like these jobs. Where it's just an old car, someone needs some help with it, get stuck in and get it done. They're the jobs that I love to do. That's why I love my job. Yeah. So, first things first, I'm going to begin and get some get some fuel and put some fuel in. Make sure there's a spark, fuel. You know, you need spark, fuel in there to make a bang. So, let's see what she hasn't got. So, I'm in the car now. Turn the ignition on. You can see that doesn't move. Why does that not move? No idea. So I can crank it, and there's nothing. So, I think first things first, I've got to actually check there's fuel in it. Got a gallon of fuel in. But I also need to see if there's anything at the carb, and I'll get a spare spark plug that I'll have lying around somewhere, and plug that in, and make sure we're getting spark. Which actually might be quite hard to do, because there's only me here at the minute. A spark plug in, so I can, it's earthing against the rocker cover. If I can reach, can I reach? Can I see that? I don't know. You can't really see, but I'm going to spin it over and see whether I've got a spark there. And if I got sparklers, that's one thing down. If I don't have sparklers, I'll check the fuel. I'm going to check the fuel first, but it's easier to check the sparkler first. So. I'd say it's easier to check the sparklers, but it's not, because I can't reach the ignition switch and look in the engine bay at the same time. So back to square one. Let's get the carb, top the air filter off, and make sure the carb has fuel in it. Well, it smells like there's fuel in there, but I can't see any. And I think, to be honest, what I might do is I might give it a sniff of spray to see whether she'll fire on the spray, because it might even be that it's just been flooded, but it's on an automatic choke as well. It's not on a manual choke, so if it's not been running properly and it's been stop-started, it might be that it's just fouled itself up. So I'll get a can of spray, which isn't ideal, but I just want to see if it fires. That's all I want to do. And it's just diagnostics, really. So it won't even fire if I give it a whiff of sniff. So that's more indicating, again, back to this side. Which, to be honest, this is really... I need two people with this, and I don't have two people with this right now. So, I think next job, I'm going to put a can of petrol in, I'm going to pull the plugs out, and I'm going to clean the plugs, make sure the plugs are clean, and then click them back in. Then, hopefully, I might be able to get the fire. We'll never know, though, because it's starting to... It's getting annoying, because I can't actually do what I want to do, because I need two people to do that, because I can't see. So I've got the fuel in. Just about to crack the spark plugs in. These are really awkward to get in and out of because they're mid-engine and there's no room in them. So let's get this spark plug out and see what she reveals. If it's soaking wet and sooty, it means it's being fouled up, which it is soaking wet. So I'll get these cleaned off with a brass wire brush and some brake clean, and then click them back in. So I've just got them in a little pot of brake clean, and the reason you use a brass wire brush, if anyone is wondering, is because, I'll pull this out, if you clean it with a standard wire brush, like a mild steel or a stainless one, then it it can actually have contaminants on it, leave contaminants on the plug, which can cause it to jump from the electrode to the I can't remember the other bit. So it won't spark, like it spark over to here instead of in the right place. So that's why you use a brass wire brush. So Dad's just got doing, so we'll see whether it's got a spark. Yep. Yep. We've got a spark. And good morning. I didn't get it started yesterday. I just didn't have time. What do you think? But good news! I remember my GoPro, so let's switch that now. GoPro's up and running. Woohoo! I am going to... I've got all the plugs out and cleaned up. The air filter's off. It's got fuel in it because I put a gallon of fuel in it yesterday. And I'm going to compression test it. Just while all the plugs are out. Make sure she's got decent compressions before we do anything else. Otherwise, it could be wasting time. So, right, let's see if I put this on to time lapse. Compression tester. I've already done the first 3. If I go and do in here, you can see the plug hole is right there. So I'll get this started. I'll log these with 2 hands, right? I put my compression tester in. Get me, click the top on, and I'll try and set that so you can see it. There you go. So you can see that. What I do is, I'll just film it so you can see the thing go up. I go into the car, all the plugs are out, and I hit the put the full throttle in so it's getting as much air as it needs to, and then crank it for 5 seconds. There we go. So, as you can see, it's run about 150 psi, which is bang on. So, all 4 pots are run at about 150 psi. One's slightly higher. I think number 3 was slightly lower, but nothing to be worried about. They're all pretty good healthy compressions. Plugs are back in, so we know we've got compression, we've got spark and clean plugs. Next thing to do is check the carb, so I'm going to pull the carb a bit. I'm going to pull the top plate off the carb. And actually, in fact, I might be able to see if I can get that to have a look and see if the fuel's pumping. It's funny, I can see more through the camera than I can with my eyes. That's cool. In case anyone notices, this one's already missing, so... Thing pulled apart, as you can see. To be honest, it looks like a very similar carb that's on the little Renault we have. It's definitely leather, and I have had one of these. So I've just been, as you've just seen, I've been stripping this off, and I moved this to take the fuel pipe off, and I haven't touched this. That is terrifying. Why is that even like that? Wait, I think it's for one thing's for certain. I would definitely be throwing a new fuel filter and possibly some new fuel pipes on the bloody thing. Bloody hell, man! Because if that went, that could just cause a fire. That's dangerous. Bloody dangerous. I'm not gonna lie, that looks a lot better than I thought it would. Give it a clean out. I give it a good clean out. There isn't as much fuel in it as I thought there might be, I mind. I'll give it a clean out. I'm going to rebuild the carb anyway, so don't worry about the gasket. I just want to get it running for now. Well, that's the plan anyway. Let's click this back together. So there's fuel there, but no there's fuel in there. it's not filthy dirty. I'll pull the jet suit, give them a blowout, and I'm going to go up the road and get some more fuel. I'm going to do these in a star, so it pulls the top good square. Otherwise you can pull it in wonky and then you end up with air leaks and stuff. I've just got back from the fuel station. I've glugged the fuel in. Hey. And so I've put the fuel in. There's the fuel tank if anyone ever wondering. Gallons in there. I just put a gallon of V-Power in. That was scary. You don't realise how expensive a gallon is until you gotta buy one. So the fuel gauge is now working. It's saying there's half a tank in there, or just over half a tank. Let's see if she will fire up. Clutching anyway. Why is she taking over at $3,000 though? I'm gonna knock that off because why is she taking over at $3,000? That's not right. But she starts. Well, that's one job done. She starts. Why is she running over? Why is she taking over that fast? Why is she taking over that fast? That's not right. It could be that there's an air leak from in here, but I doubt that. I'll get the air filter back on and get the airbox back on and see whether that helps pull it back down, because obviously you can get an unlimited amount of air there, whereas going through the airbox it's restricted itself through there. So I'll get that click back on. Airbox will click back on. There is a good chance I realised when I put it back together that it's this breather doing here that it'll be sucking air from, which is supposed to be plugged into here, which it wasn't, obviously because the airbox is off, but that was just a test fire to see if it ran, and it ran. Let's see what she does. Let's see what she does. Put that gear. Why is she doing that? Better. It's not right. Going back down, coming back down to the loop. 12. Customer did say it dies, so instead of dying, see. There we go. So that's one of the reasons why it came in. But it dies when it drops, so let's get the car pulled apart. Top of the airbox is off. I have just noticed one thing though. You can tell me what's missing there. I think there's something supposed to be there. Yeah, this thing needs a good check over when I get the thing running. So I'm going to pull the jets out the carb. I forgot with these ones, you don't have to pull the top off. You can get to them. They're just there. You see those brass screws? That's them there. So I'll get them, hold it, and change it. Right, so I've got my screwdriver. Let's get into the top of this carb. So, nope. So I'm trying to show you here. So there is. There you go. You see those brass screws doing there? I want to get them out because I need to give them a clean out. You can see the carb's a bit dirty, but I just want to get them out to clean it first. Make sure, and if it runs properly, hunky dory. So I'm going to pull the whole thing, well, eventually, hopefully, if the customer allows me to. So what it is I'll show you if you can. There's holes in these, right? These little brass screws actually control the fuel ratios. So the holes in these are set to different sizes, so different points when the carb runs and draws air through, it'll draw fuel through these holes at the same time. I thought it was bent there, but it's not. So you need these always need to be spotless clean and not blocked up. Now you can see. Can you see? These ones are a little bit dirty. I'm gonna give them a clean off. This one is marked as a. They usually got numbers stamped on them as well, so you can tell what size they are. I think I've been over carbs before on the Fiesta, and I've shown you the jets and stuff. The different types of carbs use different type of jets. So I'm going to get this one. To be honest, I think this one should have been bottomed out, and it wasn't. That could be something to do with it. But I'll get the airline on, and I'll give them a blowout, and make sure they're nice and clean and spotless before I put them back together. So, do I film this bit or not? Nah, it's going to be too long anyway. So when I come back, I'll be nice and clean. That one's back in, I'll just put it back in. I forgot to film it. So it's back in. Now just rinse and repeat with the rest of the ones in there, and then I can, well, you can see the automatic choke now, it's starting to warm up. It opens itself and closes itself up. But I'll get these pulled, dude, and clean, dude, but I'll put it on times for that. So I forgot, I got a chest mount. It's been in my car for months and years. So I'm going to stick it on there so you can see what I'm doing. Let me pause and woo. If it works, I don't know. First time try it. So I just pulled this jet, dude, and as you can see, that's kind of grim. Light lamp on it. That should not be like that. So let's get this cleaned off. So till the jet's clean, dude, let's give her a spin and see how she runs. Whether she runs any better or not. Here's the question. It should do. The jet's clean, dude, but you never know. Could be time inside. Let's see. Of course, she could be not starting at all. About 3 pumps. Nice, she done that. Look at that. Just put the booster on it, see if she tries again. Why has she done that? I think it might be ignition side, like. Wonder if it's fold the plug up again. Well, I just pulled the plug out and it is absolutely soaking wet. Right. I better get the plugs back out and clean them again. There's definitely a problem with that. It's definitely running rich because look how wet that plug is. So we've still got it won't run yet. We've tried getting it to fire, it won't fire. We've got spark, but we're thinking, it's not graphing properly. It won't fire up. It won't even fire. I've even tried firing it with easy start, and it won't even fire on that. So I'm just on checking the points at the minute. I'm gonna check the points, and I'll probably get a new condenser in it. Everything else looks alright. Might put new points and condenser in it, and coil in it. So we'll get there. The back end's all back together. The spark, the plugs are in, the plug leads are on, desi cap's on, everything's clean. I just turn the battery charger off because I have the battery on charge. Let's see what she does. Or not. Good afternoon again. I've just got the delivery from AV Taylors. Sean, I tell you, I give you a shout out. But Taylors are the boys for getting bits on old stuff like this. Sean, Robin, and Campbell. Yep, they're the boys. I ring them up, where the people won't go, oh no, we don't need anything for that. Well, to be honest, Sean, Campbell, and Robin all find the bits. Yeah, so we got a new coil pack, which is that red bit there. Full set of new NGK plugs. A new, is this condenser or points? No, that's the condenser. So there's the condenser there, and this one will be the points. And there we go, there's the new points. So I didn't get a digicap, I didn't get plug leads because they all seem okay. Didn't get rot wrong. They're all cleaned up okay, they don't look bad. Plugs have been fouled up a lot. I'm going to pull everything apart. I'm also going to pull the carb apart because we did get a fire at one point off camera, and as soon as it fired, it revved up there with 4 grand from Stone Dead Cold, which is terrifying. No, don't like that though. Not from like Stone Dead Cold, boom, straight 4 grand. Bah! It was painful, it knocked it straight off. First off, I'm going to be pulling all plug leads off and the dizzy cap off. And the good thing with this one is the top of the dizzy cap, it's numbered. So 1, 3, 4, 2, so that's where the fire in order. When it fires, the little rotor arm will come around. It'll contact number 1, and contact number 3, and so it's 1342. Fire an order on one of these. So, the nails all stripped out. We've got the dizzy cap off, the rotor arm off. And I've got to pull these points out. So, these are the points. And what these do is, there's a little cam that runs on the shaft coming out of well, I'll show you. This bit here has lumps on it, essentially. So it's like a square edge instead of round. It's a bit like, say, this socket there. It's got edges on it. So this runs against it. And when it opens up, can you see that? It's not really focusing very well. Will it focus? It runs and opens and closes. And when it closes, it makes contact, which means it gets electrical current through it, and that's what creates the put to drive the spark. So that needs to be nice and clean and fresh, so that's why we're putting this in. I've just realised something that will make my life a lot easier, and would have made my life a lot easier up until this point. That big black panel is an access panel. I was just looking at it and I thought, hold on, there's bolts on the inside, the bolts that go on the inside of that. So if I take those 4 out, I can get directly to the dizzy from there. That would have made my life a lot easier. Carry on. But here's the old points out anyway. You can see there's been they're questionable. So can you see that? The wire is knackered. But you can see that wire is haggard. It's just breaking off. And you look at the corrosion on that wire. So they were well overdue changing. So it's a good job of putting new ones in. That's why I'm going through the whole ignition system really. I've checked the dizzy cap off, it's over there, and all plugins and everything, they seem okay. But bits like that, that's not okay. And plus, that could have shorted against the body as well, which is not funny at all. Well, now I've got access to here. As you can see, I've pulled the full dizzy body out. So I've centre popped that, and I've centre popped the block so I can time it back up again when it goes back in. And I will time the thing up again properly when I'm further into it. Right, it's just finished. Been there for 5 minutes. It's right there. You can see a little bit of grime left on it. Inside's a lot better. I'll give it a quick scrub over with a little brush, knock the lumps off, and then throw it back in for another few minutes and see how she comes out. I've got the new coil packet in. I've rewired, well, I haven't rewired, I've redone the ends on the cables, and I've tied these ones up, just them together. So I've got a new ring terminal on this side and a new ring terminal on that side. I'll show you one of the old ones. That was one of them. I've lost it, I think I've chucked it somewhere. One of them snapped. Somewhere around here. It was around here anyway. They're all questionable, badly crimped, not breaking very good connections. So I've put new ring terminals on, just like this one. This is the one I've just done now for the suppressor. I've taken the insulation off, crimped them on, and then also heated them up and soldered them on, so they're now well and truly on, and I'm going to make really good connections. And then I just put some insulating tape around them, tidy them up, make sure they're safe, and click this back together, and then that's the core pack done. And the dizzy is so there we are. That's the dizzy hood of the ultrasonic cleaner I cleaned up. I've got the new condenser on, obviously not tightened up yet because I need to put the power to it when it's in the car. I've got the new points in and point caps set. So hopefully when I get this clicked back together, she'll be sweet. Right, that's the dizzy all built up. You can see it here. I'm going to pull, I'm going to stop tonight. It is 5 o'clock, like 10 past 5 now. So I'm going to knock the battery charge off. I'm going to stop there for the night. And when I come in the morning, I'm going to put it up behind, pull the back wheel off, pull the timing covers off, and I'm going to time the engine up, time the dizzy up so it sits in, it's pointing the right, the dizzy rotor arms pointing the right place to start with. And then I can, once that's done, I can start to click it back together, and hopefully it'll be timed up properly, and I can see whether it's just running properly as well. And plus I want to check whether it's timed up in the first place anyway. It might not be timed properly, and that might be half the problem of why it's not starting. So yeah, until the morning, I'll cut now. And And we're back in here, back in the room. Aye, right. So, I'll just got the car in, up height. Well, the car was already in. Got up height, got the back wheel off. You can see here is the timing mark for the crank. And up there. Okay. There is 3 little pointy bits. You can now set the dizzy in and set the rotor arm to point at number 1, so it's firing near enough, bang on, enough to get it started, and then I can time the thing properly up with the timing gun. But I also want to see what the condition the belts are like, because while I'm down this far I might as well pull the cover off and I can have a look at the belts, because we don't want them snapping the belt. So I got it timed up. I've reading in the book that you time them up. I've put the mark on there, but there's also mark on, there is timing marks on the back of the block. You can see that bit there, exactly where I'm trying to torch, that brown bit. There's a square there with timing marks on, so I've timed that up onto that. You time up the ignition side by, you don't time it up off number 1, you time it up off number 4, so you manually put the distributor in and then point the rotor arm at number 4, right arm, whatever. Just so, I'm going to put the dizzy in now, got that timed up, I'm going to put this in, point the rotor arm at number 4, and we'll go from there. Well, I don't know if you can see that. Dizzy's on, plugs are in, new plugs are in, I put the new plugs in. Dizzy caps on, rotor arms in, it's all wired up, new condensers on, new points are in, new coil packs in, new coil, well, it's not really coil packs, new coils in, wired up with the new connections, ready to turn the key and see whether she'll fire up. I've got the top off in case it pops back. I don't want it firing the lid off or bending the lid. So jump in. Shoot that, yeah. Let's see how she fires, or if she'll fire at all. It's trying. I think the timer's out there actually. I think I'll try turning the timer and seeing whether I can get the thing to fire up a bit easier. Might turn the timer while I'm spinning it and see how she goes, but I'll need 2 hands for that, so I'll come back to you in a minute. Well, I've turned the dizzy while I was cranking it and she fired. So it has ran slightly when it's been off camera, because I can't do that all on camera, but I stopped it after I got it slightly warm. It's, well, I'll show you here. It's obviously not that warm because that's the exhaust manifold and I'm holding my hand on it. Yep. So she's fired up. Let's see. Let's turn the dizzy. Let's see how she fires up now. This is the problem about having white interior in a garage. Right, let's see what happens. Obviously not. 2 seconds. Bit more fiddling. Bit more fiddling. So I'm going to turn it that way. This is annoying because it was running a second ago. This is why I need 2 hands. That's too advanced, I think. See if she warms up a bit. So I've had it ran up slightly warm and I'm just about to try and time it up with a strobe light, but I'm having to do it off my knowledge of timing up these things instead of actually being able to do it off a book, because my laptop's playing funny buggers. It won't let it load up, and the manual that I've actually got a manual saved on my laptop so I can go through all the, it's got all the details what I needed, except I can't get onto it. I've been trying all morning, so I'm just going to have to time it up as best I can from mechanical knowledge. Some people say, I've got my timer light on here, and some people say you time them up on a light off number 1, and then some people say you time them up off I said cam, something. It's like you time. If you time it off the cam up here, because there's a mark on the cam, you time it off number 4, which would kind of make sense because it'd be 180 out. But if you're timing it off the crank, you use number 1. And then there's time marks down there, which I've shown you before. There's also time marks down on the bell housing, which I've shown you before. But I can't figure it out properly, so I'm just going to time it up as best I can for the minute until I can get on my laptop and time it up bang on when I know I can read the manual and read properly, because we all know the internet can be full of crap. Well, I've got a little update on the X19. As you see in the video just before, it was running. I knocked it off to put the timer light on, wouldn't start. Couldn't even get it to try. Me and Dad had a bit of a funny about again. Couldn't get it to do anything. It was run up hot as well. I had it run up hot. So, and I even kept it revving while Dad knocked it off so it didn't foul the plugs up. And when I came back to it, it just wouldn't fire at all. But when we look at the carb, I knew it needed rebuilding, but I was hoping I could get the thing timed up before I had to pull the carb off, rebuild it. But it's getting to the point now where I can't even get the thing to start, even though it's timed somewhere about right. I can't check on the time light because I can't get it running. And I can't get it running healthy and steady enough to time it. So next step is pull the carb off, strip it, see what bits I need, ultrasonic clean it, get it nice and shiny and spick and span, rebuild it with new gaskets, jets, anything that needs, and hopefully it'll be fine. The only thing is as well, it's on an automatic choke as well, instead of being on a manual choke, so that's probably half the problem with it starting to foul up in the first place. This has been put on hold until I get a phone call from one of the Fiat X19 specialists about getting a rebuild kit for it. I'm also going to put a belt on it, because this is the belt sticker here. Hang on. Can you see that or not? You probably can't. It says there, replacement date. So it was replaced on the 23rd of the 6th, 1997. Nearly as old as me. I'm 96, so that's 97. That belt's been a long time. You'll have to come back in the next video to see how she ends up running. I'm going to be pulling the carb off, probably putting a belt on it, because now I know how old that belt is, I'm worried about it. And yeah, we'll get the thing running and timed up properly, and hopefully it'll be just about ready to go away to the customer. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this video. Like and subscribe for more stuff like this, because I do get to do stuff like this on old cars, our old wagons. There is, again, still talking about it, a big project coming to the channel when he finds the keys. I've been waiting a while now. And yeah, I hope you enjoy the videos. Don't forget to like and subscribe, comment, let us know what you think. And if you know anything better than me, because I don't know everything, I'm not one of those types that knows everything. I just go off knowledge of being in the trade for long enough, and manuals and stuff. So, but if anyone knows any tricks with these, any better ways to do things, feel free to comment, let us know. I'm always up for learning. And thank you. We'll see you in the next video.